It's amazing how shocked you can be by something that's not actually a surprise. Dad was so powerful a presence in our lives that I don't yet fully comprehend that he's gone. It's a time of so many emotions, of grief, happiness at our quiet coming together in the last years, comfort that really he was ready to go and died peacefully with Blanche holding him. And yet a very bleak coming to terms with the reality that we'll never see him again. And it's a time of so many memories. And here I want especially, the dangers of using an iPad. I want especially, I know it's there anyhow, to acknowledge my brother Steve and my sister Roz. We grew up together. We share so many of these memories, and we're family forever. And to the rest of my beloved family, I look forward to meeting and us all being together in happier times. In sifting through the memories, of course, I should note that Dad's public life overlapped with our private lives. I remember tramping the fields with him holding my hand as we visited many farmers before the 1963 Corio election. That night of the vote, he woke me, as promised, to say that he had done okay, but lost. And when I was puzzled, proceeded to explain the mechanics of DLP preferences to me. I was 6. In the garden one day, he answered my questions about the wage cases we saw him work so hard on, grabbing and using a box of cornflakes to illustrate making things and selling things and paying people and all that, but to explain the central point of how people's wages determined the choices they could make or not make for themselves and their families. I remember him agonising about leaving the trade union movement he'd come to love to enter Parliament. And we had the privilege then of observing from the semi-inside so much that happened in those momentous years where, as others have acknowledged, so many had hope and belief that a government with imagination, integrity, skill and a sense of fairness could operate to improve our life as a nation and create better opportunities for all. And so I will always be proud of what Dad did and of the spirit of optimism and inclusion he helped bring to our country. You all know that families are complex beasts at the best of times and that there can be some tough passages. Our family is no exception. But I do count us as fortunate because ultimately love, laughter and deep bonds have prevailed and expanded as we've been enriched by partners, kids, their kids and our step-family. Back in the day, there were weekend mornings with just Steve and Roz and I, the dog and the cat, all sprawled with Mum and Dad on their bed, reading newspapers, playing board games, telling stories and listening and chattering away. There were holidays at a remote beach shack on the Eyre Peninsula with old friends of Ellie and Clem's, and at a farm in Gippsland, and Dad taught us how to ride motorbikes and fish and to pick mushrooms after the rain. Our parents raised us to listen to people, to seek out facts and to think for ourselves. They were proud of us, but some of the arguments as we grew and differed. Debate was situation normal as far as we grew up knowing. And in these last few years, Dad mellowed so beautifully. I treasure our conversations, the gentle smiles, the grip of his hand, his pleasure in family and in simple things like cauliflower cheese. Dad was nurtured within a loving family in the twin citadels of the Congregational Church and the Labour movement. By the time we came along, this had morphed into a progressive, agnostic humanitarianism with a deep love for people and an unshakable commitment to the realisation of a fairer and more just world. And that, I believe, is Dad's foundational legacy. His belief that we can always, whoever and wherever we are, work towards a better world for all in our own corners. This was the vision he joyfully embraced in life and the challenge he leaves us. So we have good reason in our grief to celebrate the magnificent, rambunctious human being who has left us. I'm so grateful he was our dad, part of our lives and our world. He's gone, but the essence of who he was shines on in our hearts. Thank you.